welcome to webinar number 6. My name is James from Rearview Safety. Today we're going to be speaking about the 360 Plus system, which is the 360 system. It's like a surround view system plus a whole lot more, and we'll get into that in just 1 second. This is the 6th webinar in our webinar series. We do these every 2 months. So for those of you who are coming back, welcome back, and check back in 2 months for webinar number 7. Okay, so before we begin about the 360 system, I just wanted to ask a question to whoever's here so far about what you think about 360 systems so far. Does anyone here have experience with 360 systems? Do you like them? Do you hate them? Just want to see a general kind of consensus, what people thought. So to comment or question, you can use a chat on the bottom left of your screen. And let me know what you guys think about 360 systems. Robert says, no experience yet. Sorry, let me just read through this. Pablo, very helpful in parking and narrow space environment on the road. Yeah, that's definitely true. Nick says, limited experience from automobile, like the idea. Tyler, never used one. Only seen one on Chris says he's only seen one on luxury car commercials. Ken wants to learn about it. Bruce, useful for tight parking. All right, interesting. So we have some people that have a little bit of experience, a bunch of people that don't. Definitely is an interest. What we've seen so far in the automotive industry is that there's a big interest in 360 systems in general. A lot of people are highly interested by it, and it definitely is very useful in certain circumstances. Dan said he tried to install one for a car and an RV. Didn't work, so decided to see a plus. All right, here we go. So, Rearview Safety, what we did is we took the 360 system and we kind of took it to a whole nother level. As we'll get into here, and we call this system the 360 Plus system. What I'll do first is I'll just go through the 360 system itself, just an overview of the 360 system. After that, we'll get into the 360 Plus and kind of what we added, what we put together. So a 360 system is 4 cameras that mount on each side of a vehicle. You have one on the front, one on the back, and then one on each side. And they have these ultra-wide viewing angles that kind of capture the entire side on each side of the vehicle. What the system then does is it stitches those views together and it simulates a bird's eye view of the system. So on the screen it looks like you're viewing the vehicle from above, and you can see, the surrounding area around the vehicle. Obviously it's just a simulation, as some people will sometimes get confused about. It's not a real bird's eye view, because that'll be impossible unless you had like a drone. But cameras that are on the vehicle, impossible to give you an actual bird's eye view, but you mount them on the top of the vehicle facing down, so it really does capture the whole surrounding area, and that allows the system to simulate a bird's eye view like you're looking at the vehicle from right on top of it. With the 360 system, what you can also do is view each camera individually. So as you'll see shortly, you can see the bird's eye view and each of the camera views themselves. And this system works on vehicles up to 66 feet long, so it works on obviously smaller vehicles like cars and pickup trucks, but even larger vehicles like buses and trucks and RVs up to 66 feet also will be able to work on. So here's a look at how the system will actually display on a screen, on a monitor. The default view is this split screen view, where on the left side you had the bird's eye view. As you can see, it's that simulation where it looks like you're looking at the vehicle from the top. And then on the right side, it will show you a view from one of the actual cameras. The default is going to be the front view, as you can see here. So while you're driving down the road, this is what you'll see, the bird's eye view on the left, and then the front view on the right side. It has this little graphic here, as you can see as well, which displays which of the 4 cameras are being displayed on the right side. So as you can see here, the front camera is being displayed. Besides, so the default view is like this, where you have the bird's eye on the left and the single view on the right. You can also set the system up to view each of these individually full screen. So you have the option to view the bird's eye view instead of a portrait mode as like a landscape mode, filling the whole screen. Or you can view the camera view by itself, also filling the whole screen. And that, we'll get into that in more detail, but you set that up during calibration, you have that option. To view the cameras, to control the cameras, you could do that either manually with this like steering wheel controller, as you can see here, and that just, with the press of a button, will switch between the, let's say front camera to side cameras, etc. There's also automatic triggers that you can set for each of these cameras, and we'll get into that as well, a little bit more detail shortly. With regards to the monitor, the system can connect to really any monitor with RCA connection. So we have, Rivi Safety offers a bunch of options. We have a 7-inch RCA or a 9-inch that you can connect the system to. But what's cool about the system is that you can also connect it directly to a inbuilt display. So if you have a display already in your vehicle, you can connect this system directly to it. That's basically the overview on just the 360 system. Any questions so far on that before we get into the 360 plus? Any questions on the 360 system itself? Is it customizable DVR systems? Chris, that is a great question. So we have another 360 system that actually has a built-in DVR. This one, I'm actually not sure if it can connect to a DVR. We do have, however, Eric, who just joined the chat there. Thank you, Eric. Eric is one of our engineers who's an expert on the 360 system, and he knows, that the DVR is compatible with this 360 system. Is it okay for lawsuits? Asked Pablo. It'll be just like any other recording that definitely is very useful for, court cases or lawsuits, and yeah, you'll definitely be able to use the footage. For more detail with regards to the DVR aspect, it's really kind of beyond the scope of this webinar, but if anyone has any questions regarding that, or Chris, if you want to know any more details about that, you can email me or Eric, and we'll definitely get you all the details you need for that. Okay, so what we did is we brought the 360 system, the surround view system, and we added side cameras, which we call lane-changing cameras, to the system to make it this 360 plus system, which is basically a 6-camera system. We'll get into the setup in just a second, but here's the basic idea. If you see on the left side, the bird view system, while it is the surround view system, it is great, and it does give you that kind of surround view all around the vehicle, but it's a pretty limited kind of view. It's really just for the immediate surrounding area on the vehicle. So great for tight parking, like people mentioned earlier, or parking lots, stuff like that, tight driving situations, really great for, especially for larger vehicles. However, for highway driving, for example, it doesn't give you too much view of vehicles coming up behind you or vehicles to either side of you, and that's kind of where the 360 plus system comes in. As you see here on the right, the side view cameras that we can add to the system, we call them lane changing cameras, and that gives you this kind of much larger viewing area to each side of the vehicle. And we'll get into how that actually looks on a monitor in a second, but the idea is that now not only do you have the blue area viewable, you have also this whole green area to each side, which expands the viewing area kind of immensely from the regular 360 system. Here's the way it works. This is the way that you set it up. the four 360 cameras connect to the 360 module, which is this 360 box here. And then the 360 module has an RCA output, which regularly would just go directly to a display. What we did is we added a multiplexer, or this can really be a power harness, and we allowed the 360 system to plug into port number 3, which gave you 2 extra empty ports which you can add cameras to. So in essence, that means that port number 3 in the power harness, or channel 3 on the monitor, is the one channel that controls or views the 360 system, and then you have 2 more channels, port 1 and 2, where you can view the lane-changing side cameras. And this is how it looks like on a vehicle itself. You have the 360 camera system, 360 cameras, sorry, here and here, and those 4 all connect to the 360 module. And then there's one output. Instead of going directly to the monitor, it goes to port number 3 in either our multiplexer or power harness. And then the side cameras go into port number 1 and 2. That's a basic setup, and this is how the system will actually look on your display. So the first 4 views in this graphic are the 360 system views. Is what you'll be able to see all in port number 3 on the monitor. So the default view is going to be the top left one right here. So when you turn on your vehicle, the default channel on the monitor or multiplexer is port number 3. So the default view will be the 360 system. In the 360 system, the default view is the bird's eye view on the left with a front view camera on the right. And then in that 360 system itself, you can always use the manual controller to change to the rear camera, for example, which will give you those grid lines, and then to each of the side cameras as well. All that is all in port number 3. If you want to see the lane-changing cameras, what you can do is you can manually, on the monitor itself, switch to port number 1 or 2, and that'll show you these right or left side lane-changing views. And as you can see, it's really a whole different kind of aspect. It's really a whole different kind of viewing angle. So, like we said before, the 360 system is more of like the immediate kind of area surrounding the vehicle. Here you get this view of hundreds of feet behind you. You can see cars coming up behind you on the highway. You can see about 3 lanes to either side of you. So it's really a whole kind of different viewing angle, and it gives you a whole lot more range in just the one system. In addition to that, that's all kind of how you can control the system manually. The system also comes with automatic controls, which are trigger wires. So what you can do is you can connect a reverse trigger wire to, you can connect a rear trigger wire to reverse power, and that will allow you to, as you go into reverse, automatically switch the camera view to this view right here, where you're seeing the rear camera from the 360 system. So you'll be driving down the road, the regular view will be this top left one, and then as you go into reverse, it will automatically switch to this second view here. Another thing that you can do is you can connect trigger wires for the side cameras. So you can connect the side trigger wires to turning signals, so that as you turn on your right turn signal, for example, it'll switch from the 360 system, which is port number 3, to the right side view, which is either going to be port number 1 or 2, and that'll give you that, big, expansive right side lane changing view. And the same thing for the left side. As you hit your left turn signal, it'll give you the left side. And then once the turn signal goes off, it'll go back to the channel 3, which is your 360 system. So you have a lot of manual control where you can view in the 360 system the front camera, rear camera, and each of the side cameras. You also have this automatic control where you can switch automatically to the rear camera and switch automatically to the left and right lane changing cameras. So that's basically the 360 plus system. We threw together kind of these lane changing cameras together with the 360 system to kind of give you an all-in-one, really versatile and fully viewable system. Ray has a question here. Do the cameras allow viewing the top edges of an 11-foot cargo truck? So with the 360 system, I mean, the cameras are going to be mounted right on the top of the vehicle, but they're going to be pointed downwards in a way that the bottom of the camera, in other words, the bottom view of the camera, will really just get the bumper or the edge of the vehicle. As you can see here on in the second image, that little that bumper there is the bottom of the vehicle. So you're not going to see the top of the vehicle. You're really just going to see, if anything, you'll see just the bottom bumper or the front fender of the vehicle. The rest of the view is going to be just the surrounding area on either the front or the sides. Okay, so that's really the 360 system plus. The 360 plus system kind of all in one. If anyone has any questions, we'll get into a little bit more detail. There's a little bit more detail that we can discuss, but if there are any questions so far, let me know now and we'll discuss them. Do you have a demo video? So we have a demo video of the 360 system. I don't believe we have a demo video yet of the 360 plus. But that's something that we'll definitely be working on. Chris had that question. We'll definitely be working on a video on that system. But you can check out the video to the 360 system itself, and it'll give you an idea of how this works. Pablo has a question. Can you switch the view, make it switch from a mirror to a normal image? That's a great question, Pablo. So the default view on all the cameras are going to be a mirror image. I think I'm going to recruit the help of engineer Eric here and see if he has the answer to this, because I'm not too sure. But the default view is a mirror image for all these images, for all the camera views. I would guess that you wouldn't be able to switch the camera views to a normal view. It would also kind of ruin the view. I wouldn't imagine you would want to. But see if Eric has the answer for that. If not, we'll definitely get that answer to you, Pablo. So Eric chimed in here. Thank you, Eric. Don't believe that the mirror image is possible to change to a normal view. In other words, you need the mirror image for the 360 system to work. So don't believe that the 360 system images can change to a normal view. Pablo asked about the 2 extra side cameras. It's a good question, but I don't believe either that they'll be able to change. So the 360 cameras definitely won't be able to change between mirror view and a normal view. They'll need to keep that mirror view to have that stitching work. Side camera views, I'm not sure about, but I would imagine also wouldn't be able to change to a normal view. Eric will chime in here. Stephen has a question. When pulling my fifth wheel, I like to view the rear view constantly. Can the guideline overlay be turned off? Another great question. Eric, let us know if the grid lines, the guidelines on the rear camera in the 360 systems, if you can switch those on and off. Grid lines can be turned off. Okay. So if you want to view the backup camera continuously, like Steven said, I'm pretty sure, then you definitely can do that without the grid lines. Okay, so let's move on to a little more details. Sorry, one more question. Ray has a question. Do you have users in Hawaii? I don't know offhand if we have users in Hawaii, but we can definitely check. We probably do have dealers there. We have thousands of dealers and installation centers, so we probably do, but I will have to verify that. Looking at camera options. So because the side cameras are kind of independent to the 360 system, you can use any one of our side cameras to add to this system. To the 360 Plus system, you can really use any side camera. These are the recommended cameras that we use with the system, and that's the 775. It comes in a right side and a left side. That's the left camera here. It's more of a commercial grade camera. It's more for like larger vehicles like trucks and buses. Comes with infrared lights, and it's a little bit of a larger build. The MV1 and the R7 and L7 here are smaller side cameras, and they obviously both come both as a right and left side, and they're really small. They're about an inch in each direction. Better for smaller vehicles like cargo vans or pickup trucks or even cars. But again, just really any of our side cameras you can add as it's kind of independent to the 360 system. Looking at a little bit more details, just some points here. The first couple of points are with regards to trigger wires. I'm not going to go into it in too much detail, but both systems, both the 360 system and the multiplexer or power harness have trigger wires. So you kind of just have to make sure that you're connecting the right triggers for the right design and application. Really, it's more of a detailed installation point, so we'll just mention that here. The system does come in two versions. It's basically two cable lengths. So we have cable lengths for vehicles up to 40 feet, and then longer cables for vehicles up to 66 feet. Just make sure you choose the correct one for what you need. Calibration. So 360 systems, as you might know, usually need some calibration, and this one is no exception. You'll need a calibration mat or pad, which comes with the system. The retail system comes with that pad. It takes about 45 minutes for a first-time calibration, which is pretty good for a 360 system. They run up to hours at times. So 45 minutes for a first-time calibration is pretty good. You could, once you get used to it could take up to even 15 minutes. Eric, who's our expert, reckons he could do it even in 10. With regards to the vehicle overlay, that is the view that you're going to see on the top of the top of the vehicle. So obviously, the view of the top of the vehicle is not an actual view. It's just a simulation. And so the system comes with 8 standard designs for that top view. It has like an RV, a truck, a bus, some others. So for most applications, you can use the standard design that it comes with as your vehicle top view. We can even custom design a view though if you want. So if you have a specific vehicle that's not in the standard designs, you can send us an image of that and we can build that into the software. It takes about 5 business days. Like I mentioned before, full screen mode has to be set during calibration. So you have to decide on calibration whether when you view full you want to see the bird's eye view full screen or the individual camera feed full screen. If you do choose to go with the individual camera feed full screen, it's actually only going to be the front camera and the rear camera that you'll be able to see full screen and not the rest of them. So yeah, that was a little bit more detail on that system. Any questions on those details there? We'll just give it a minute here if anyone has any more questions with the details we just spoke about, or even really the 360 Plus system in general. Welcome to ask it now. Try to address it. Okay, seems like all questions are answered, which I'm happy about. So thank you everyone for joining. That was webinar number 6 on the 360 Plus system. I'm going to stay online here for just a couple more minutes. If you have any questions regarding this system, or even if you have any questions at all, I'll be glad to hang on for a couple minutes and answer any questions. We will send out a recording of the webinar to everyone who registered. So everyone here, you'll get a recording. If you have any specific questions, or if you want any links to specific systems or videos, we'll be glad to send those out to you as well. Stephen, I was a little late coming. Is there a DVR included for the system? So there's no DVR included with the system, but you can connect it to a DVR. We didn't speak about it in too much detail. If you have further questions, you can definitely get in contact with either myself or Eric, and we'll let you know more details about that, but you can connect the system to a DVR. Randall asked, if you cannot see the top of the vehicle with cameras, is the top and bird's eye part, part of the overlay? Yeah, so the overlay is going to be basically as if you were looking at the top of a, so let's say a bus. The overlay is going to be that top view of the bus as if you're looking at it from the top. So obviously that's not going to be based on the actual camera view. It's going to be simulated. It's going to be like an image, but it'll look like the top of the top view of a bus or a truck or whatever application. Can we get the PPT deck? Yeah, we can send out. I can send out the actual PowerPoint to you. Just make sure for these questions, just make sure to reply to the email that we send you with the registration. That'll be the easiest. With your specific, questions or requests, reply to that email, and then we'll be able to, fulfill your request. Davi asks, is there any camera going on the top of the cabin of a truck which has an Outlook 360? I'm not exactly sure what you mean there, Davi. Is there a camera going on the top of the cabin of a truck? Eric seems to have understood, and he doesn't believe so. So once again, make sure to reply to the email that we send you with the recording. If you have any specific requests, Eric put his email in there as well in the chat that you can see. If you have any technical questions, he'll definitely be the person to ask. All right, so I'm going to log off. Thank you once again, everyone who joined. And we will see you next time in 2 months for webinar number 7. One last question. Oh. Are any of the cameras wireless? No, this is a all a wired system. So the 360 cameras all wired to the 360 module, and then it's a wired connection to the monitor as well. Still a wired system. All right, thanks everyone. We will see you next time.